When you look at the matchup with Ohio State and Notre Dame, what do you see as some of the keys? What areas do the Buckeyes have to take care of and win if they're going to come away with a much-needed win?
For the defense, it's what we've seen through 3 weeks. They've allowed 20 points. That's impressive. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're not giving up scores, that's impressive. If they can do that against a team who's actually college football playoff caliber, then we might come out of this game thinking Ohio State's the most complete team in college football. We thought that coming out of the Nebraska game in 2019 when they went into Nebraska and just laid a thumper on the Cornhuskers, and we were all like, okay, this is the most complete team in college football. Can they complete it and win a national title? Now, that didn't happen that season, but still, when you look at what that defense was and what you look at what that offense was, led by a first-year starting quarterback in Justin Fields and then J.K. Dobbins in year 3, who wanted to redeem himself after a not-so-good sophomore season, that was the most complete team in college football. I think this Ohio State team can do that exact same thing. First-year starting quarterback who was a former 5-star in Kyle McCord, Travion Henderson trying to bounce back from a not-so-good sophomore season, and a defense that's got enough names on it that I think that they can go into Notre Dame and really make a statement for what the rest of the season is going to look like when they get back from the bye week.
What would a win mean for Ohio State or Notre Dame? How important is this game when you think it's week 4 or week 5 for Notre Dame? It would be, I guess.
Yeah, I think the season starts for Ohio State on Saturday. The first 3 games were college football's version of what preseason were. You could show some stuff, but you really didn't have to go full throttle because the threat of losing was never really out there, so you could figure some things out. You could figure your quarterback situation out. You could work the kinks out with that offensive line that there's still some questions about, especially in the run game. You could start to really put things together defensively. But this Notre Dame game is the first real game of the year, and it can set a tone for when you do get Penn State and Columbus in a couple of weeks, when you do have to head up to Ann Arbor at the end of the season and play Michigan. So for Ohio State, it's about setting a tone for a team who's trying to compete for a national title. While for Notre Dame, this is about Marcus Freeman, a former Buckeye, who his first real game as Notre Dame's head coach last year was against Ohio State, a top 5 matchup, primetime in Ohio Stadium. It didn't go his way. He's still looking for that early signature win as Notre Dame's head coach, and really his first time as head coach, period. And a win over Ohio State at home with the world watching, that's a playoff building resume win. But it also, gets the ball rolling on the Marcus Freeman era at Notre Dame because he's still looking for that one signature win that can help allow that program to take that next step.
Before I let you go, what are areas that the Buckeyes want to avoid? In other words, how does Notre Dame end up beating Ohio State in South Bend?
If the run game is a problem and you have to become one-dimensional, that's not a good thing. I don't think it's a terrible thing because then you're telling Kyle McCord, hey, can you throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr., Julian Fleming, and Emeka Egbuka and Cade Stover? It's the lesser of 2 evils in that situation, but still, they want to be balanced. You don't want to be a one-dimensional team and allow this defensive line for Notre Dame, which isn't as good as last year. They lost Isaiah Foskey to the NFL, but they still got some quality guys. You don't want to force Kyle McCord to have to be perfect. I brought up the Oregon game on our own podcast, Buckeye Talking, and writing and everywhere else. During that Oregon game, C.J. Stroud was pretty decent, but he wasn't perfect. And because everything around him wasn't as good as it needed to be, him not being perfect cost Ohio State a win. If Kyle McCord has to be perfect in his 4th game, it's really his 5th game because he started against Akron, but his 4th game as the official Ohio State starter in 2023, that's not good. That's not good. The defense has to hold up its end of the bargain. The run game has to hold up its end of the bargain. The weapons around Kyle McCord have to hold up their end of the bargain. The play callers, Ryan Day and Jim Knowles, have to hold up their end of the bargain. If all those guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and Kyle McCord just has to take what's given to him, take the open man, just be a really good quarterback, that's how Ohio State wins on Saturday.